One maple leaf cost me $20,000. Not a fallen tree, broken pipe, not a hurricane, one maple leaf. We knew the storm was going to be bad. Flash flood warnings have been going off all day. The kind of storm where you expect roads to flood, traffic to come to a crawl, and maybe a few trees come down. What you don't expect is your house to flood, especially when it's handled storms before. It took 6 inches of rain, one 3-inch drain, a maple tree in exactly the wrong place, and timing that could not be any worse. By the time I walked through my front door, all those things had already lined up. It happened when we lived in Northern Virginia. The house had a walkout basement, and outside the basement door was a drain, and it was about 3 inches in diameter. Its entire purpose was to catch rainwater before it reaches the back door and carry it away. Inside the basement just wasn't storage. Our primary bedroom was downstairs, our living room, our bathroom, and our closets, plus the utility room. It was actually the part we lived in. That afternoon, my wife was working from home. Her office was upstairs. She watched the rain come down for hours. She said it was one of those storms where she could tell it wasn't an ordinary summer shower. But from inside the house, nothing seemed wrong. There weren't any leaks, nothing dripping from the ceiling, no alarms, no indication that anything was happening downstairs. So she kept working. By the time I got home, the worst of the storm had passed. But the first thing I noticed were the dogs. Normally, they'd head downstairs with me without thinking twice. This time, they wouldn't go. Thought it was strange. I went downstairs anyway. And I noticed. Carpet was soaked. Wall to freaking wall. Then I looked at the utility room. There was about 3 inches of standing water. The bathroom also had taken water. Our closets had taken water. The entire back portion of the basement had flooded. At that point, there wasn't any question what had happened. The question was, why hadn't the water drained? I walked outside of the basement entrance. There was still standing water against the back door. That immediately caught my attention. The storm was basically over. Water shouldn't still be there. I looked towards where the drain should have been, and I couldn't even see it. Water had completely covered it. I reached down on the water. I knew what the drain was. I started pulling away small sticks, small leaf. Then I grabbed something larger. And the second I pulled it free, everything changed. The drain came alive. It sounded like someone had pulled a plug on a giant bathtub. Water started spinning into the drain faster than I could believe. Just a couple of minutes, standing water was all gone. What I had pulled out? One maple leaf. That's it. No pile of leaves, not a clogged drain full of debris. One maple leaf had landed perfectly over a 3-inch drain while 6 inches of rain fell in about an hour. On any normal day, nothing happens. Without that maple tree, nothing happens. Without that amount of rain, nothing happens. The water probably never reaches the basement door. Every one of those events by themselves, harmless. Together, they cost $20,000. By the time the water disappeared outside, the damage inside was already done. Carpet had to come out, drywall cut, everything to be dried, everything had to be treated for mold. For the next 8 days, our basement was a construction zone, while everything was being torn apart and rebuilt. The biggest lesson here wasn't to clean your drains more often. We already did that. The lesson was understanding that houses don't usually fail because of one massive event. They fail because completely ordinary things happen at exactly the wrong time. And historic downpour, small drain, a maple tree, one single leaf. None of those are dangerous by themselves. But when they all line up, you can end up standing in a flooded basement, wondering how something so ordinary turned into a 20 disaster.